how to do Swiss meringue buttercream. It's a really delicious buttercream. It's a non-crusting buttercream, and it's a lot easier than a lot of people think. There's just a few ingredients in it. Let me go over those with you before we get started. I've got 10 egg whites, 2½ cups of granulated sugar, 1½ pounds of butter, that's 6 sticks, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and a teaspoon of salt. So what we're going to do, if you'll look over here, I have a pan of simmering water just on a burner, and I don't want to mix any ingredients until I have that ready. So I'm just going to take the bowl of my stand mixer and set that right over the top, and then I'm going to put my 10 egg whites in and all of my 2½ cups of granulated sugar. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the whisk attachment that's going to go onto the mixer. You can use a whisk with a hand if you want to, a handle attachment. But I'm just going to take this and mix it together. So what I'm doing is slowly warming up the egg whites and sugar mixture, and I want to keep whisking it while it's warming up. So I want all of the sugar granules to dissolve, and you're going to see it's going to turn, it's a little bit yellow now from the ingredients. It's going to turn nice and white and fluffy, and it's going to get up to about 160 degrees. The purpose is just to completely dissolve those sugar granules. So we'll keep working on this and bring you back when we have it up to temperature. Okay, so you can see that we're getting a little bit more of a white color and the sugar crystals are dissolving. I'm just going to check my temperature a little bit here, and we're looking for 150 degrees. So if you don't have a digital thermometer, you're welcome to use any kind of candy thermometer that you have, or as long as you can taste it and make sure that those sugar crystals have dissolved, then you're good to go. So now we've got it up to the temperature we want. The sugar's dissolved, so I'm going to take it off of the heat and move it over to the stand mixer. I do believe it's pretty important to have a good stand mixer involved in this next step, because you need a lot of strength of the mixer to whip that heat out and get it nice and fluffy. So what I'm going to do is just raise this up and turn it up to like a medium-high heat, or medium-high speed, and then let it go and get nice and fluffy. Here I want to show you the difference in the consistency as it's moving along. The temperature has dropped down quite a bit, and it's getting a lot whiter and a lot fluffier because the air is getting whipped into it. And if you can look, we've gone from about 150 degrees to just over 100. So I'm going to let that cool down to about 90 so that it won't melt the butter as I'm putting it in, and then we're going to be in good shape. Let's let this whip a little bit longer. Okay, so now we've got it down to about 90 degrees, and you saw right there that it was nice and white and fluffy, and it's cool enough now that it can take the butter in without it melting. So what I'm going to do is start adding this room temperature butter. Again, it's 1.5 pounds. I'm going to just start with it whipping, with the mixer whipping, and add this in a cube at a time until it's incorporated, and then we'll go from there. So at this stage, all of the butter has been incorporated, but what I want to do is just take a rubber spatula, scrape down the sides, and get any butter that's come up, and then I'm going to let it whip another couple of minutes. If you look inside here, you can see that it's still pretty soft, but after a couple of minutes of whipping, that's going to become nice and silky, just like an icing should be. So I've got all the butter scraped down. Now we're going to whip it on high for another minute or two. Okay, so here just after about 2 minutes of whipping, you can see that the consistency is much more like an icing like we want it. So here's where we're going to add our last ingredients. This is the 2 teaspoons of vanilla going in, and our teaspoon of salt, and we're just going to incorporate that for a second, 2. So that's the Swiss meringue buttercream. I think you will find it really easy to make. And if you want to sweeten it up a little bit, you can always mix it with a little bit of the American buttercream or a shortening-based buttercream, and the consistency will still be really nice. If you need the full recipe, just go to sweetwise.com and look for the recipe section. And I hope you have a good time making it. Thanks for watching.